something.
Okay, what's going on?
I had an accident last night.
Okay.
I was showing an old friend of mine how to use this gun that she was needing, that she asked for, and it went off and shot her in the chest.
Okay.
And I've been running around. I couldn't. It was too tough to be around her.
Okay.
It was too tough to be around her when she was drunk and high.
Okay.
And I don't drink and I don't take pills. So.
Brian Mason walks into a police station in Miamisburg, Ohio. He calmly claims, like he had just left his morning jog, a water bottle in hand, that he was showing a gun to a friend, and she ended up dead from a gunshot. The victim, Michelle Elliott, 57 years old, died instantly. Instead of immediately being taken to the scene of the crime, the police spent the majority of the day asking him questions about the victim's date of birth, her address, and other details. Almost trivial, considering a body was out there. You'll see the scene in the video, so hang on. And the question we're going to explore: how can someone stay so composed while admitting they killed someone?
I'm here to turn myself in.
Okay, what's going on?
I had an accident last night.
Okay.
I was showing an old friend of mine how to use this gun that she was needing, that she asked for, and it went off and shot her in the chest.
Okay.
And I've been running around scared
Where
all
is this
day.
at?
Up on Miami-Montgomery County Line Road.
Okay. You just want to set your water right there?
Sure.
You put your stuff up there. You got any weapons on you right now?
No.
Okay. Just put your hands behind your back for me.
Okay.
I'm just going to detain you right now based on what you're telling me.
Right. I understand.
If you want to talk to me, I'll still talk to you. Okay.
Right.
Does this person need assistance or help, or?
Do you have two sets of cuffs?
I can put two sets on you in a second, okay? Does this person need help right now, or are they deceased, or what?
They're deceased.
Does anybody else know about this?
No. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I've been waiting.
Where is this address actually that you're at?
I don't know the actual number.
Is this her house or your house, or
No, it's a friend of mine's house.
what county is it in?
It's on the Miami County side, but it's on Miami-Montgomery County Line Road.
Miamisburg 311. I'll be in the back lot with one. Can you do a miscellaneous call? I have one detained. I think you start 310. What's your name, sir?
I'm Brian.
Brian?
Brian
I'm
Mason.
Officer Dooley.
Right from the very first seconds, this scene hits differently. Brian Mason walks into a police station and calmly says he shot a woman. Just like that. No shouting, no panic. His voice almost flat. And the first thing you notice? The words he chooses. He says, "It went off." Like the gun acted on its own. That simple phrasing tries to take him out of the equation, make it feel like fate, an accident. Now watch him physically. He's holding a water bottle, his movements slow, controlled. No trembling, no wild gestures. That could be shock, pure disbelief. Or maybe it's a conscious attempt to appear rational and cooperative. But it also makes you uneasy, because the calm doesn't match what he's just said. And think about the timing. He shows up in person. He doesn't call 911. He doesn't run. He walks in. That choice alone tells us something. He knows he can't hide it. And he might be trying to manage how law enforcement sees him from the start. Or maybe he's just overwhelmed, caught between fear and a strange sense of responsibility. Even as the officer immediately starts to detain him, you can feel the tension. Mason doesn't resist. He answers questions, still composed, still repeating the story the same way. Every pause, every small gesture, the bottle, the way he shifts his weight, speaks volumes. It's almost like he's trying to convince both himself and the cops that it really was an accident. And here's the kicker. From a psychological perspective, this mix of calm, admission, and detachment is rare. Most people would panic, break down, cry, or yell. But Mason, he's eerily measured. That makes you wonder, is it fear, shock, or a carefully calculated attempt to control the narrative? Finally, let's pause and think about the human element. He's confessed to taking a life, and yet we're left with so many questions. Why here? Why now? Why not call for help immediately? The calm, almost businesslike delivery pulls us in and forces us to confront the complexity of human behavior in moments of extreme crisis. Accident or something more? That's the question hanging over this first encounter, and it sets the tone for the entire investigation.
I was living in my truck, and then after my health started failing, and I couldn't keep a med card because my blood pressure was too high. Yeah, I quit and then took my savings and just been staying in rooms or in my truck.
Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah.
Were you staying at that house with her?
No.
Was she letting you stay there? Or?
No, well, she offered, but because of her debilitating disease, I couldn't. It was too tough to be around her.
Okay.
It was too tough to be around her when she was drunk and high.
Okay.
And I don't drink and I don't take pills. So
I gotcha.
that's what we argued about all the time. You know, if I ignored it, it was fine. But I had to put up with the way she acts when she was under the influence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'm getting pretty dry mouth.
You want a water?
Sure.
Alright, let me get you a water. I'll be right back, okay?
Thank you.
I'm just gonna shut this door. If you need something, just knock on it. It'll be like 2 seconds.
Okay.
Incredible. I'm not sure I'd even be asking for a glass of water after what he did. Honestly, if it were me as a cop, there's no way I'd leave someone alone in a room after they just admitted to killing someone. That's not exactly comforting. And yet, here he is, calm, polite, almost likable. It's weird. Does his gentle demeanor make him seem less dangerous? Or does it just soften the horror of what he's done? You can't help but wrestle with that. What's really striking is the officer's tone. They're almost unnervingly calm. No raised voices, no dramatic reactions, nothing. They ask about the house, the car, Michelle's birthday. And it's like, this is just another Tuesday for them. You notice it immediately. The way they speak, so matter of fact, like they've heard it all before. Murder, shootings, tragic accidents. It barely registers as shocking in their voice. And that contrast, it's fascinating. Brian is jittery, hesitant, struggling with guilt and fear, while they're completely composed. That calm, almost detached professionalism actually amplifies the tension for us watching. It's subtle, but it hits hard. The normality of the officer's tone makes the crime feel even more surreal. It makes you think about the psychology on both sides. For the suspect, every question is pressure, a test of consistency, a measure of how much he can control the narrative. For the police, decades of exposure seem to harden them. They react minimally, letting the suspect reveal everything without interference. And in that dynamic, you can really see the cat-and-mouse game of interrogation, the human mind under stress, and the practiced neutrality of those trained to handle it. By the end of this segment, it's clear how experience shapes perception. What would terrify the average person barely registers for the officers. They treat it as procedural routine. And yet, that very normality makes Brian's nervousness and the gravity of the crime stand out even more. It's a chilling reminder. The world of law enforcement is a place where horror becomes ordinary, and you start to wonder how that changes a person's view of life and death.
Yes.
Elliot, Elliot.
TT.
2 T's?
I think it's 2 L's, 2 T's.
Germantown, 311. Check out.
The other officer here asked for her phone number. Oh, you did. Oh, you did. Yeah. Sorry, a little confused back and forth.
Check out one of the kills.
What's,
If you want to pull Google Maps, I'll show you.
let me get her phone number again real quick. So I'm sorry if you got it.
I'm
Do
sorry.
you know her phone number?
Yeah.
Let me just write it down real quick. What is it?
But it's crazy. The cops spend all this time asking him details that feel almost trivial. Her house number, the color of the garage door, how far it is from the road. Meanwhile, the victim's body is out there somewhere. You keep thinking, why aren't they rushing him to the scene? Why not secure the evidence, honor the victim, instead of sitting here turning addresses into Google Maps coordinates? It feels like the urgency of death is being replaced by procedure, and it's a strange, unsettling contrast. You realize that law enforcement is trained to stay calm, methodical, meticulous. But in this calm, the human tragedy almost becomes a footnote. The officer's neutrality is part of their job, sure, but watching it here makes you reflect. Where does respect for the victim fit in? The attention is on extracting information efficiently, not on the immediacy of care or acknowledging the horror of the crime scene. And yet, for Brian, every question is pressure, a test of consistency, a measure of how much he can control the narrative. For the police, decades of exposure seem to harden them. They react minimally, letting the suspect reveal everything without interference. And in that dynamic, you really see the cat-and-mouse game of interrogation. Human vulnerability versus trained neutrality. So here's how it all wrapped up for Brian Mason in court. He was convicted of reckless homicide and sentenced to a total of 8 years in prison. That includes 3 years for reckless homicide, 3 years for the firearm specification, and 2 years for illegal possession of a gun. 6 of those years are mandatory, which means he had to serve them no matter what. When you hear that, you might feel it's fair. Someone died. There are consequences. But some of you could also think it's too light, considering a gun was involved and the death was entirely preventable. It really makes you wonder how justice decides what's enough punishment, and whether the law captures the human side of a tragedy. Do you think the sentence fits what happened? Beyond the numbers, there's something else that stays with you. Michelle Elliott lost her life instantly, while Brian Mason walked into the station calm, almost unervingly composed, holding a bottle of water like it was an ordinary day. That calmness is unsettling. How can someone be so collected after causing a death? It makes you question human behavior, how people process guilt, fear, and responsibility. And then there's the system itself. The court had to balance facts, the weapon, Mason's state of mind, and the impact on the victim's family. Watching it unfold, you start thinking about fairness in a broader sense. How should society weigh intent, accident, and consequences? How much should a calm demeanor influence judgment? How do we reconcile the cold facts of the law with the emotional reality of loss? At the same time, it's impossible not to think about ourselves. What would we do in a situation like this? Could we stay composed, or would fear and panic take over? How would we process the responsibility of an action with irreversible consequences? These are hard questions, and they're exactly what cases like this force us to face. Ultimately, the story leaves you reflecting not just on one man, but on how fragile life can be, how quickly ordinary moments can turn tragic, and how the law and human behavior intersect in ways that are rarely simple or straightforward. It's a reminder that accountability isn't just about punishment. It's about understanding the ripple effects of choices and thinking about the kind of responsibility we all carry every day. If this case shook you, if it made you think about responsibility, justice, or the fragility of life, I want to hear your thoughts. Drop them in the comments below. And if you want to explore more true crime cases that dig into the mind, the law, and the human consequences, subscribe and turn on notifications. Each story is a glimpse into human nature, showing us that even the smallest moment of negligence can change everything.